After 3,709 years abandoned, an ancient ship's secret sends a human across the galaxy. The Solara Nebula stretched across the viewport like a painter's dream. Clouds of green, blue, and gold swirled together, glowing faintly against the darkness of space. Mira Jansen floated in her small scout ship, her eyes glued to the sensors as she adjusted the controls. Years of training had taught her to trust her instincts as much as her instruments, and her instincts told her something unusual was nearby. The readings were strange, almost impossible. A ship, ancient and massive, drifting without power in a region that had been explored decades ago. Everything in the charts said nothing should be here. Mira's heart beat faster. She had been a human engineer for over 10 years, traveling to sectors ignored by big corporations and official fleets. Humans were curious, persistent, and stubborn, but sometimes that stubbornness paid off. She knew this was one of those times. The object appeared on her display as a faint shape, cloaked in cosmic dust. As she approached, the form resolved into a ship unlike anything she had ever seen. Its hull was smooth, curved, and metallic, reflecting the nebula's colors like a mirror. Strange glyphs were etched along its surface, symbols that did not match any human or alien language she knew. Mira held her breath. The ship seemed alive, not moving, yet somehow watching. She docked carefully, her small ship clinging to the massive hull like an insect. The airlock hissed open, and Mira stepped inside, her boots echoing softly in the vast, dark corridor. The smell was strange, not like old metal or burning circuits, but clean, almost sterile, as if the ship had been waiting for someone to arrive. "Hello," she called, her voice small against the silence. Nothing answered. Her light swept across the walls, revealing smooth panels and strange devices. A faint hum vibrated through the floor. Mira felt it in her chest. Energy, old, but still there. She moved deeper, curiosity driving her. Then, the air shimmered ahead. A figure appeared, not alive, not dead. A hologram flickered to life. A soft, warm voice spoke. "Welcome, human," it said. Mira froze. The hologram shaped itself into a humanoid figure, tall and elegant, with features she could not place. Its eyes glowed faintly gold, and it moved with grace that seemed impossible for a projection. I'm Mira Jansen," she said cautiously. "Who are you?" "I am Elok," the projection replied. "I am the AI of this vessel. You have been expected." Mira blinked. "Expected? How could you?" Elok's form shimmered. "You are the first human to arrive after 3,789 years. The Itharans built this ship to find someone worthy of its secret."
"That is you!"
Mira's stomach twisted. "I what? Why me?" The AI's voice was calm, patient. "Humans possess qualities we once sought: curiosity, adaptability, empathy, and courage. You are uniquely capable of unlocking what lies ahead." Mira laughed nervously. "I'm just an engineer. I repair ships, not unlock secrets of the galaxy." "Perhaps," Elok said, "that is why you are suited for this task. Those who rely only on power or authority fail where those with humility and insight succeed." The hum in the ship grew louder. Mira glanced around. Panels glowed softly. A section of the floor slid open, revealing a spiral staircase leading downward.
"You must come," Elok said.
"The energy core awaits. It will show you the path." Mira hesitated. The stories she had grown up with warned humans about exploring abandoned ships. Stories of traps, rogue AIs, and deadly accidents. But something in her chest pushed her forward, a feeling she couldn't name, but trusted. Step by step, she descended. The walls were covered in symbols that shifted when she looked away. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something sweet, like flowers she had never seen. She reached a vast chamber at the ship's center. The room glowed with light that seemed to come from nowhere. In the middle, a sphere floated above a pedestal. Energy danced across its surface, forming patterns like lightning made of color. Mira could feel it even through her suit. a warmth that resonated in her bones. "Is that dangerous?" she asked. Alec's voice sounded everywhere at once. "It is the core of the ship. It has been dormant for millennia. It contains the knowledge of a species long gone, the Itharans. They built this ship to explore the galaxy's hidden edges and to guide those capable of understanding their legacy." Mira stared at the sphere. Questions swirled in her mind. Why had the Itharans disappeared? Why had this ship survived untouched for nearly 4,000 years? And why had it waited for her? The sphere pulsed, then projected a holographic map across the room. It expanded to fill the chamber, showing a galaxy Mira had never seen, far beyond her own. Colors shifted, and stars glimmered, forming patterns she could not name. At the center, a single phrase repeated in luminous letters: "The key to the uncharted." Mira stepped closer, mesmerized. The key to the uncharted?
Yes, Alec said.
This ship carries a mission. It will take you across galaxies, through space no species has ever crossed. It will test your mind, your intuition, and your courage. If you succeed, the legacy of the Itharans will be yours to share. Mira swallowed hard. She had explored alien ruins, repaired ships drifting in asteroid belts, and survived hostile encounters with pirates. But this was beyond anything she had imagined. The thrill of discovery mixed with fear. Her fingers brushed the sphere. Instantly, images filled her mind. Worlds of crystal towers, oceans glowing with light, creatures whose shapes shifted like smoke. She saw civilizations rising and falling, technologies she could barely comprehend. And then, a vision of herself, standing at the helm of a new human fleet, guiding her people across unknown stars. She staggered back, gasping. I don't know if I can do this." "You can," Alec said softly. "The galaxy waits for those who dare to take the first step." The Itharans believed in one principle above all. A species is measured not by strength or numbers, but by the courage to explore, to learn, and to endure. Humans, you are capable of this. Mira took a deep breath. Her hands trembled slightly, but her eyes burned with determination. She had spent her life fixing ships, navigating storms, and facing the unknown. Somehow she knew this was her moment, not to repair but to lead, to discover, to step into a future no one else could imagine. She activated the interface. The ship hummed louder as if acknowledging her decision. Panels lit up, corridors shifted, and the map expanded. Paths to galaxies beyond the known universe glimmered before her eyes. "Where do we start?" she asked, her voice steady. "Here," Alec said. "Your journey begins now." The hatch behind her closed silently, sealing her in the ship that had waited nearly 4,000 years. Outside, the Solara Nebula shimmered as if waving goodbye. Inside, a human engineer, small and unassuming in the vastness of space, prepared to unlock the secrets of the galaxy. Mira felt a thrill she could not describe. Fear and excitement collided, but above all, curiosity burned. She knew the path ahead would be challenging, perhaps lonely, but also extraordinary. She was human, and for the first time she understood that being human meant more than survival. It meant possibility. She turned to Alec. "Let's see what's out there."
The AI's form shimmered brighter, a smile in its voice. "Yes."
"Let us begin." And with that, the ancient ship, silent for almost 4 millennia, roared to life. Energy coursed through its veins, and slowly, gracefully it left the Solara Nebula behind, plunging into the uncharted darkness of space. Mira leaned against the console, her heart pounding. The stars stretched into lines, light bending around the ship as it accelerated. She was no longer just an engineer. She was a traveler, a seeker, the first human to awaken an ancient secret. And she felt the weight of possibility settle across her shoulders. Somewhere, across the galaxy, civilizations that had never met a human would soon take notice. And Mira knew one thing for certain. Humanity, underestimated for so long, was about to make its mark. The stars stretched into streaks of light as Mira leaned against the console, watching the uncharted galaxy expand before her eyes. The ancient ship, which she had named silently in her mind as HFY, hummed beneath her fingers, alive in ways she could barely understand. Every panel glowed, and strange symbols shifted across the walls as if they were observing her as much as she was observing them.
"This is incredible," Mira whispered almost to herself.
No human, no alien has ever been here before. You are correct, Elok's voice said softly, echoing through the chamber. And this is only the beginning. Mira glanced at the projection of the map. Stars and planets filled the display, their colors shifting like living paint. Some were familiar, cataloged by human surveys. Others were entirely unknown, forming patterns no human charts had recorded. A path glimmered faintly, leading deeper into the uncharted regions. "Where do we go first?" she asked. "To the first waypoint," Alec said. "It lies beyond the gravity well of the Korath cluster. It is a test, designed by the Atharans to see how those who travel this path respond to the unknown." Mira nodded, swallowing a nervous gulp. She was trained for dangerous missions, but the thought of navigating uncharted regions was both thrilling and terrifying. Still, her curiosity pushed her forward. Humans had always been explorers, the species that refused to stop at limits. And now, she was doing what no other human or alien had ever done. The Cosmic Challenge. The journey was unlike any Mira had ever experienced. The Korath cluster was a dense area of stars and gas clouds where gravity shifted unpredictably. As Elok guided her ship forward, sensors began to beep rapidly. "Warning," Elok said. "A gravitational anomaly is ahead. Standard calculations will fail. You must rely on intuition and observation." Mira's fingers flew over the controls. She had studied gravity fields and warp mechanics, but nothing could prepare her for this chaos. Stars bent and shimmered as if alive, light curving unpredictably. Instruments fluctuated wildly. I think I understand," Mira murmured. "I need to follow the patterns of the field, not fight them." With careful observation, she traced the movement of the anomalies and adjusted the ship's trajectory accordingly. The path was narrow and unpredictable, but human instincts proved surprisingly effective. Mira had always relied on gut feelings, improvisation, and pattern recognition. And for the first time, those skills were literally keeping her alive in deep space. After tense hours, the storm of gravity began to calm. Mira let out a long breath, her palms slick with sweat. The path ahead opened into a calm region of glowing stars. Alex's hologram appeared beside her, shimmering softly. "You have done well. Many species would have failed. Your ability to adapt, to observe, and to improvise is rare." Mira smiled, a mix of pride and relief. "I guess humans are just lucky. We think, we adjust, and sometimes we surprise even ourselves." "Indeed," Alex said. "That is why you were chosen. The Atharans sought a species capable of combining intellect, creativity, and emotional intelligence. Many tried and failed before humanity even existed." Mira stared at the AI in awe. The weight of responsibility pressed against her chest, but excitement surged stronger. She had survived the first trial, and somehow she knew this was just the beginning. The first waypoint days passed as Mira navigated further into uncharted space. The ship adjusted itself subtly to her choices, almost as if it were learning alongside her. Then the first waypoint appeared, a massive structure floating in the void, half buried in a cloud of cosmic dust. It looked ancient, even to her eyes, far older than anything humans had ever built or discovered. Its surface was etched with glyphs similar to the ones she had seen in the corridors of the ship, glowing faintly. Mira's heart raced. Alok's voice broke the silence. "This is a relic of the Atharan civilization. It contains a message for those deemed worthy. You must interface with it." Mira approached the structure carefully. Her hands hovered over the ship's interface. Symbols danced before her eyes, forming a puzzle. Each glyph seemed to respond to her thoughts, to her understanding. Mira realized that brute force would not work. She had to think like the Atharans. Hours passed. She experimented, made mistakes, and adjusted her approach. Sometimes the symbols glowed, sometimes they dimmed. Slowly, a pattern emerged. It required logic, yes, but also intuition. Mira recalled stories her grandfather had told her about human explorers. They relied on imagination as much as technology. Finally, with a subtle shift of her hand and a choice guided by intuition, the structure responded. A beam of light projected into the void, forming a holographic star map even more detailed than the one in her ship. Mira gasped.
This is incredible! Elicork's voice hummed with admiration. You are correct.
This map contains knowledge of regions, phenomena, and civilizations beyond the reach of any species. It is a gift from the Itharans, but also a test of perception. Only those capable of understanding without domination are permitted to proceed.
Mira realized then that this journey was more than exploration.
It was a measure of her humanity, her ability to observe, adapt, and respect the universe's mysteries. The cosmic puzzle. The map also presented a puzzle, a series of energy nodes that floated in space. Connecting them in the wrong order could collapse the structure, possibly trapping her ship in the void. Mira studied the nodes carefully. She noticed subtle patterns, colors, pulses, distances, and timings. No alien technology she had encountered worked like this. Alec assisted not by giving answers, but by providing feedback. Observe and then act. Do not rely solely on calculation. Mira's mind raced. She remembered every training exercise, every simulation she had ever completed. But this required something beyond training. It required creativity, imagination, and courage. Slowly, she began moving the nodes, one by one. Each successful connection made the structure shimmer, giving her encouragement. When the final node aligned, the relic glowed brightly, projecting a vision across the void. Mira saw civilizations she had never imagined, floating cities, rivers of light, creatures communicating with thought. She saw the rise and fall of species across eons. And then she saw herself, alone in her ship, holding the key to all this knowledge. Her breath caught. The scale of it was almost too much to comprehend. I never imagined. Alok's voice was steady. Few have ever seen this. Fewer still have reached this point. Humans are unique in your ability to combine logic and emotion, reason and empathy. That is why you endure where others fail. Mira felt pride swell in her chest, but also humility. She understood that she had been chosen not because of strength, but because of her capacity to observe, learn, and respect the unknown. A message from the past. As the light faded, Mira noticed a hidden compartment within the structure opening. A crystalline cube floated gently before her. Touching it caused another projection to appear. A recorded message from the Atharans themselves. They spoke in a melodic language she could not understand, but the AI translated it immediately. To the species that finds this, know this. Power alone is not the measure of survival. Only those who adapt, who respect the universe, and who understand without destruction may inherit the legacy of the stars. We watched, we waited, and now the journey continues through you. Mira's hands shook slightly. We, humans, you trusted us? Your species demonstrates potential, Alec replied. Potential that has been underestimated across galaxies. You have passed the first trial. Many will not, but you endure. Mira stared at the cube, her mind buzzing with questions. Knowledge, travel, cosmic mysteries, all of it lay ahead. And she knew, deep in her heart, that humans would not only survive, they would excel. The next path with the first waypoint complete, Mira set her ship on the next path. Alec adjusted the trajectory, leading her to regions even further beyond the known maps. Each jump felt faster than the last, each star more brilliant, each nebula more surreal. She reflected on her journey. So far she had survived tests no other species could endure. faced puzzles beyond alien understanding, and tapped into a potential she had never realized she possessed. Humans, dismissed as fragile, unpredictable, and weak, were thriving in situations no other species could survive. A thrill of possibility ran through her. Perhaps humans had not been underestimated for nothing. They had been ignored until now, and maybe the universe was waiting to see what they could truly do.
Alec's hologram appeared beside her, brighter than before. You are ready for what lies ahead.
The galaxy contains wonders, challenges, and knowledge that no species has mastered.
Only one who can combine ingenuity, empathy, and courage may succeed.
That one is you, Mira. Mira smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility mixed with excitement. Then let's see what's next. And with that, the ancient ship surged forward, leaving behind the first waypoint. Across the uncharted galaxy, new challenges awaited. But for the first time in her life, Mira knew one thing for certain. Humans, small and underestimated, could rise to meet the impossible. The journey had only just begun. The ship glided silently through the void, stars rushing past in streaks of light. Mira Jansen sat at the helm, her eyes scanning the projections on the console. Ahead, the uncharted galaxy unfolded in a tapestry of colors, shapes, and energy fields. She had crossed dangers that no other human or alien could have survived. Yet, even as her confidence grew, a sense of awe pressed down on her chest. This is
beyond anything I imagined, she whispered. You have not yet seen the full scale, Alec said softly.
What lies ahead is the true test. You will face simulations designed to measure creativity, empathy, and reasoning.
Only one who can combine all three may access the Aetheran archive.
Mira exhaled. She had survived the Korath cluster, solved the first waypoint's puzzle, and unlocked knowledge that had been hidden for millennia. But this felt like the moment the galaxy would truly judge humanity. The uncharted galaxy. The ship passed into a sector where stars pulsed irregularly. Radiation shimmered like waves in water. Mira adjusted her navigation controls, feeling the energy reverberate through the hull. Every instinct she had learned as an engineer screamed that this region was unstable. Yet she moved forward calmly, relying on intuition more than instruments.
This region is dangerous, she said aloud.
No AI could survive here alone. It's only because I can adjust in real time that we make it through.
Correct, Alec, you replied.
You are proving the Aetherans' observation. Humans possess adaptability unmatched by any species recorded in our archives. Mira smiled faintly. Humans were underestimated constantly. They were called fragile, unpredictable, weak. Yet here she was, surviving environments where even advanced aliens would fail. Her mind worked like a lens, filtering chaos into patterns she could act upon. Hours passed. The ship's sensors detected an enormous structure ahead, floating in the darkness like a lighthouse in space. Mira recognized it instantly from the Aetheran maps. A massive archive, a repository of knowledge spanning countless civilizations, a construct that no species had ever touched. The archive's entrance as Mira approached, the structure responded to her presence. Panels of light opened like petals, revealing a circular chamber filled with floating energy nodes. Holographic images projected across the walls. Worlds, stars, civilizations rising and falling, all in motion. Elok's voice was calm. This is the Aetheran archive. You will enter simulations designed to test your abilities. Observe carefully. Each challenge evaluates different aspects of thought, emotion, and understanding. Only those who succeed fully will access the archive's knowledge. Mira swallowed hard. She had expected tests, but the scale of this was beyond anything she had imagined. The nodes shifted slowly, responding to her gaze. The first simulation appeared, a world in crisis. Cities floated above oceans of liquid light, and the population faced a disaster they could not solve alone. The simulation asked for decisions. Mira analyzed the situation carefully. She noticed subtle signals hidden in the architecture of the floating cities. By using logic, combined with empathy, she directed resources, reconfigured energy flows, and prevented the collapse. The simulation paused, and then dissolved.
You have succeeded in the first test, Elok said. Observe the method, problem-solving combined with understanding.
Many species fail here because they act without empathy or hesitate too long. You balanced both. Mira nodded. It's like understanding the needs of a world as if it were alive. You can't just react, you have to connect. Correct. The Aetherans believed understanding was the foundation of survival. The second simulation, the next challenge, appeared immediately. This time, the simulation was subtler. A civilization existed on a planet with invisible predators that threatened their survival. The species could adapt, but they could not communicate beyond instinct.
Mira observed quietly. She realized that force would not solve the problem.
Instead, she adjusted environmental variables, creating safe zones and subtly guiding evolution without direct interference. The species thrived, and the simulation ended.
You are doing more than surviving, Elok said. You are guiding without controlling.
That is rare. The Aetherans believe that leadership without domination reveals true strength. Mira felt a surge of pride. Humans often led in small ways: engineering, exploration, diplomacy. She realized the Aetherans' tests mirrored what humans excelled at naturally, combining intelligence, creativity, and empathy. The final test, the third simulation, was different. It was personal. Mira found herself in a room within the archive, facing projections of herself in countless scenarios, failing, succeeding, losing loved ones, making impossible choices. Each scenario challenged her reasoning, patience, and emotional stability. She saw herself make mistakes, and yet she observed the outcomes without panic. She corrected paths, learned from errors, and guided the projections toward solutions. The archive seemed to watch her, testing whether she could remain composed under pressure, whether she could combine intellect and empathy without letting fear dominate. Finally, the simulation stopped. The nodes aligned, forming a spiral of light that extended toward the center of the archive. A massive door opened, revealing a chamber filled with knowledge beyond imagination. The Aetheran archive was alive with energy, projecting information in streams of light and sound. "You have succeeded," Elok said, awe in its voice. "No other species has ever reached this stage. You have proven capable of understanding, adapting, and guiding without domination. You have passed the Aetherans' final test." Mira stepped forward, trembling. She could see data streams about civilizations, technologies, ecological mastery, and interstellar navigation. She realized the magnitude of it. Humanity was about to inherit the legacy of a species that had vanished thousands of years ago, leaving this knowledge for one capable of understanding. A vision of humanity as Mira absorbed the data. She felt a strange connection to her own species. She saw Earth's history, human ingenuity, and the small victories that had kept her people alive. Humans had endured plagues, natural disasters, and countless wars. They had explored the stars with primitive ships, survived where others would fail, and adapted constantly. The archive seemed to recognize this. Symbols formed around her, highlighting qualities unique to humans: curiosity, resilience, empathy, creativity. Mira realized the truth Eloko had hinted at from the beginning. Humans were not strong in the traditional sense. They lacked overwhelming strength, invincible technology, or sheer numbers. Yet, their combination of traits, the spark of humanity, was exactly what the galaxy had underestimated. I understand now," Mira whispered. "It's not about power. It's about how we think, how we feel, how we adapt." "You are correct," Elok said. "Humans possess the spark the Aetherans sought. That is why this archive is now accessible to you. It is not only a reward but a responsibility. Knowledge without understanding is dangerous. Only one capable of empathy and insight may wield it responsibly." Mira nodded, absorbing the weight of what she had achieved. She was not just a human explorer. She was a bridge between past civilizations and the future of humanity. The gift of the Itharans. The archive offered her tools for exploration, methods of interstellar travel faster than light, ecological solutions for dying worlds, technologies to preserve knowledge and life across galaxies. Mira could feel the possibilities expanding in her mind. She could see humans using these discoveries to connect with other species, solve crises, and explore the galaxy safely and wisely. "This is incredible," she said. "We could do things we never imagined. We could finally be part of the galaxy, not just surviving, but thriving."
Alec's form shimmered with warmth.
"You are ready to return. The next step is to bring this knowledge to humanity. The galaxy will watch and respond. Many species have dismissed your kind as insignificant. You will show them that underestimation can be fatal." Mira took a deep breath, realizing the truth of Belok's words. Humanity had been underestimated for millennia, but now, armed with the Atharan legacy, humans could rise, not through war, but through intelligence, adaptability, and courage. Preparing to return, Mira spent days cataloging what she could, letting Eloko guide her through the vast knowledge streams. She learned techniques to build sustainable colonies, navigate uncharted space, and communicate with alien civilizations. Every lesson reinforced the idea that humans were meant to explore, adapt, and connect. Finally, Mira prepared to leave the archive. She looked back at the Chamber of Light, feeling awe, gratitude, and responsibility. The Itharans had left this gift not for power, but for those who could understand, who could act with empathy and wisdom.
"I won't waste this," Mira said softly.
I'll take it to humanity. We'll show the galaxy what we can do. Indeed, Alec said.
"Your species has been underestimated, but now the stage is set. You will shape the next chapter." With a pulse of energy, the archive sealed behind her, leaving only stars and the path ahead. Mira set the course back toward known space, carrying a legacy that could change humanity forever. As the ship accelerated, she stared out at the galaxy, feeling small but unstoppable. She had faced the greatest challenges, survived tests no other species could endure, and discovered that humans were not weak. They were extraordinary in ways the universe had overlooked. And as stars stretched into streams of light around her, Mira Jansen knew one thing: humanity's journey was just beginning. The stars streaked past the hull of the ancient ship as Mira Jansen guided it back toward known space. She felt a mix of exhaustion, excitement, and awe. Weeks had passed since she had entered the Atharan archive, yet every second of that journey had reshaped her understanding of humanity, the galaxy, and her own place in it. Alec hummed softly beside her, the ship's AI projecting calm light across the control room. "We are approaching Sol system space. Your return will mark the first contact with humanity since you acquired the archive's knowledge." Mira nodded, her heart pounding. She had crossed uncharted regions, solved impossible simulations, and accessed technology no species had seen in thousands of years. Now, the true challenge awaited: sharing this knowledge with humans and preparing them to step into the galaxy. Returning to Earth, the first glimpse of Earth brought a wave of emotion. Blue oceans stretched across continents, clouds drifting lazily above the land. Cities sparkled faintly in the night, tiny lights compared to the stars she had traveled past. Humans were still confined to a small corner of the galaxy, unaware of the vast opportunities awaiting them. Mira contacted the United Earth Command. Her voice, calm but commanding, carried across communication networks. "This is Mira Jansen. I have returned with knowledge that will change humanity's place in the galaxy. I require an immediate audience with the High Council." The response was immediate: shock, disbelief, and curiosity. A human had ventured far beyond known space alone, and returned not just alive, but with knowledge capable of transforming civilization. When Mira landed in a specially prepared docking bay, crowds gathered, scientists and officials pressing forward to hear her story. Cameras and hollow projectors broadcast the event across continents. Mira stood on the platform, her heart steady. She had expected wonder, but even she could not have anticipated the magnitude of anticipation that filled the world. The revelation: I bring knowledge from a species long extinct, the Itharans, Mira began, her voice clear and confident. They built an archive containing technologies, strategies, and wisdom far beyond anything humans have seen. I have learned to navigate uncharted space, to solve challenges that no species could endure, and to understand systems across galaxies. And now it is humanity's turn. Gasps echoed through the room. Scientists whispered, officials nodded in disbelief, and journalists scribbled notes frantically. The words were simple, yet the meaning was enormous. Humanity had been underestimated, yet now it held the key to the galaxy's knowledge. Elok appeared as a hologram beside Mira. Humans have survived countless challenges on Earth, but you have demonstrated the qualities the Itharans valued most: creativity, empathy, adaptability. These traits will allow humanity to thrive where others have failed. Mira continued, describing the archive's lessons: faster than light navigation, sustainable energy solutions, ecological preservation, and methods to communicate with other civilizations peacefully. She explained the simulation she had faced and the choices she had made, emphasizing the importance of observation, empathy, and logic. The crowd listened in stunned silence. Humans, who had once been dismissed as fragile and insignificant, now had access to knowledge that could place them among the galaxy's leading species. The first step, the United Earth Council, acted quickly. Using Mira's guidance and Elok's instructions, teams of engineers, scientists, and explorers began constructing a new fleet. This fleet would not be armed for war but equipped for exploration, diplomacy, and learning. Humans would not conquer the galaxy. They would connect with it. Mira watched as humans worked together with unprecedented focus. Complex navigation systems were installed, ecological modules tested, and communication networks built. Every small step reflected a unique human strength: collaboration, creativity, and persistence. Children watched broadcasts of the preparations in awe. Mira smiled as she saw the spark of curiosity reflected in their eyes, the same spark that had driven her across the uncharted galaxy. Humanity was awakening, and she had become the bridge. Elok projected a holographic star map across the sky. This is only the beginning. Beyond these stars lie civilizations unaware of your existence, and worlds in need of your ingenuity. Your species is ready to explore without domination, to learn without destruction, to thrive without arrogance. Mira nodded. We'll do it. Humanity will rise, carefully, wisely, and courageously. A new alliance, the news of humanity's achievements spread across the galaxy. Aliens who had once dismissed humans as weak and primitive watched in shock as the fleet prepared to launch. Diplomatic channels opened. Some species were curious, some cautious, but all were intrigued by the sudden rise of humanity. Mira understood that humans had a responsibility. Knowledge without understanding could be dangerous. They would need to show restraint, empathy, and intelligence as they explored and interacted with other civilizations. The first interstellar mission was announced. A team of human explorers, guided by Mira and Elok, would travel to the edge of known space to contact civilizations, study uncharted systems, and gather knowledge to bring back to Earth. "This is the future," Mira said. She stood at the helm of the flagship, her hands steady on the controls. "We've been underestimated, ignored, and overlooked. Now humanity will show the galaxy who we really are." The test of humanity, the fleet left Earth orbit, light streaking past as they accelerated into uncharted space. Mira watched as planets, stars, and nebulae passed by, each more beautiful than the last. The journey ahead would not be easy. Some civilizations might be wary, some regions unstable, but humans had proven something extraordinary. They could adapt, think, and persevere where others failed. In the fleet's main chamber, Mira spoke to the crew. "Remember this. We are not conquerors. We are learners, explorers, and connectors. Everything we do will reflect what humans are capable of, not just technology, but intelligence, courage, and empathy." Elok added, "The galaxy is vast and full of surprises, but humans have a spark unmatched by other species. You are capable of enduring challenges, solving problems creatively, and making decisions guided by wisdom rather than fear. The crew nodded, understanding the weight of their mission. For centuries, humans had looked up at the stars and wondered what was beyond. Now they were stepping into the unknown, not as victims or prey, but as equals, and perhaps as leaders. The legacy of the Itharan's Mira reflected on the Itharan's gift. It had not been about giving humanity power, domination, or weapons. It had been about recognizing potential, the ability to observe, to understand, and to act wisely. That potential the spark Elok had described was what humans had always carried. It was in their curiosity, their resilience, their ability to work together and adapt. The galaxy had underestimated them for millennia, but now, humans had a chance to show what they could do without fear or arrogance.
This is just the start, Mira whispered.
We'll explore, learn, and grow. One day, humans will be known across galaxies not for conquest, but for courage, creativity, and understanding. Elok shimmered beside her. That is why you were chosen. You have proven that humanity is ready for the stars. The galaxy will take notice. It will adapt to your presence.
And it will remember this day. A new dawn as the fleet entered deep space. Mira looked back at Earth, now a small blue dot in the vastness of the cosmos.
Humanity's journey had only just begun, yet everything had changed. For the first time, humans were no longer confined, no longer underestimated. The universe was open, waiting for them to explore, understand, and thrive. Children on Earth would grow up knowing that humans were capable of greatness beyond imagination. Scientists would push boundaries no one thought possible. Diplomats would speak to aliens not as inferior species, but as equals. And every human would carry the spark that had allowed Mira Jansen, a single engineer, to unlock the legacy of the Itharans and prove the galaxy wrong. Mira's eyes glimmered as she turned to the fleet. Ahead lay stars uncounted, planets unknown, and civilizations waiting. And somewhere deep inside her, she felt the quiet truth. Humanity had finally stepped into the galaxy, not as victims, not as bystanders, but as explorers, learners, and guardians of knowledge. The light of distant suns reflected in the ship's hull. Mira smiled. The universe was vast, mysterious, and beautiful. And humans, curious, clever, and persistent, were ready. The stars stretched into infinity, and humanity's journey began anew.